Rafa, let me ask you a question, Rafa. This is for Rafa. Can you see a scenario, or a situation where Sirianni is not the head coach next year, and maybe a guy
No.
like Ben Johnson?
No, because
Dude, the
They're
fans
winning.
won't be upset.
I don't care what the fans
Doesn't matter.
think. That's
They're
because
winning.
People always say, "Oh, what the fan? Fuck the fans." You know what? At the end of the day, it's the NFL. The NFL fans can go fuck themselves. The NBA fans, they need them because they got to pay the players and they got to pay those expensive ass ticket prices. The NFL teams could give 3 fucks about the fans realistically. They can look at the Steeler fans. All the ones that you talk to always want Mike Tomlin fired. The man is a winning machine. Okay, he makes you relevant every year. Sirianni's 12-2. 12-2 is probably gonna be 13-2. Probably gonna end the season 14-3 or 15-2. They're vying for a number 1 seed. You cannot fire a coach.
We all just said that he's at the bottom of every issue.
Why can be at the bottom of every issue? They're 12-2. They're 12-2.
But is he the reason? But is
he's the head coach? He's the head coach.
He's got to play some small part, at least.
At the end of the day, listen, the game plan still's going through him. The players aren't in there fucking drawing up the game plan. He's the one doing it. Him and the other coaches. It's not the players. The players are out there to execute, and they have a phenomenal roster on the offensive side of the ball, probably the most talented in the league. At wide receiver, they're phenomenal. The running back is, lights out. So he's orchestrating this whole thing, whether he's arguing with the fans or with another head coach or whatever. I don't see them firing him. Like, if you fire him, it'd be a terrible look on you, because the head coach that goes in there could say, "Oh fuck, I can't even yell at my quarterback, or I can't yell at another coach and go 15-2 and possibly NFC Championship game, and I can get fired." Like, what precedent are you setting for the next head coach? It doesn't make any sense for them to want to fire him. I don't ever believe in firing a coach.
First round bye or first round and out, he's safe no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. First of all, you're going to have a home game, more than likely. You're going to host a home game. They're arguably playing. They're playing lights out, right? So the likelihood of them losing in the first round doesn't seem likely. But even if they do, a 14-3 head coach or a 15-2 head coach, you cannot fire him, because what does that set the bar for the next guy coming in? What does it say?
Or the rest of the
2 words. Marty Schottenheimer.
Marty Schottenheimer went 14-2 and could not win a goddamn playoff game. Marty Schottenheimer could never win, and we know that. It doesn't matter where it was at. Cleveland, it didn't matter. Marty could never win this. Trust me, I had season tickets for those Charger teams. He was atrocious. He was a guy to get to the 2-yard line with the best running back in the league and wouldn't hand him the goddamn ball. So, I mean, Marty, the exception, and Marty was also an older man on the way out. So that might have been mutual, actually. I don't think they, but anyways, Sirianni finishing at 14-3 or 15-2, possibly a number 1 seed. It would be ridiculous for you to fire him, because then, listen, at the end of the day, he's the one orchestrating the whole team, the whole thing. It just is what it is. You can say, as good as Jalen Hurts has been, and as good as Saquon and A.J. Brown and all the guys, Devontae, everyone that you listed, and the defense and everyone. At the end of the day, the one who's putting in the game plan is the head coach and the two coordinators, or whatever the fuck, how many they have. Those are the guys putting in the game plan. The players execute them. That's it. Jalen Hurts is not sitting there going, "This is what we're doing on Sunday. This is our first drive." That's not what he's doing. We know that. So Sirianni needs some sort of respect there for going 12-2 so far. And if he ends 14-3 or 15-2, there is no way in hell, even with a first round exit, that you can fire him. It would not look good. That's my
opinion. If they laid an egg this year, he would have been out the door fast. Because they were really good last year. They were part of that same thing that everybody's talking about with the Chiefs this year, where they're super vulnerable and everything else. Exactly. But they were undefeated. They were like 10-1, but they were winning ugly games, and it just didn't look right. Yeah. And it was very different than what the Chiefs are doing this year. but it was part of that same kind of narrative. If they came back this year and laid an egg, and he was arguing with the fans, and he's arguing with coaches, and we're hearing that there's turmoil in the locker room, not just between Jalen and Devontae or AJ Brown. There was turmoil between him and Sirianni. Sirianni's out before the season's even over. They're not letting that happen, especially not in Philly. I mean, they threw snowballs and shit at Santa Claus. Do you think that they're going to let Sirianni be around if they're laying eggs in Philadelphia? No, not happening. Not happening at all. So winning definitely cures all. He can continue to argue with coaches and argue with fans. As long as they win, he will be just fine, even if they have a first-round exit, which they definitely won't have. I think they probably should make it to the NFC Championship, to be honest.
And I will tell you this. I will give you this, though. I think if they get to the NFC Championship game or this year or lose in the second round or whatever, and next year they come out and they start flat, a 2-5 or 3-6, whatever, 4-7, then I could see them firing them. It'll be easy to move on. I don't think you can move on from a guy who wins 14 or 15 games.
And then the excuses of he was arguing with people and this, that, and whatever will come into play next year if that happens.
Right.
Here's why I ask you guys this, okay? Because Ben Johnson, okay, if you know he's an issue and your team is really good, why not pull a Bill Belichick and cut a guy 1 year early when you have possibly the hottest offensive mind and head coach candidate in some time now, and go get Ben Johnson? I'm just saying,
because
let the record reflect. Let the record reflect. Shanahan hot seat. Sirianni is
not
on the hot seat.
No, because I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, Ed. Because with all of the shit going on the sidelines and with all the fans are this and that, they're 12-2. It has not been an issue, period. It's not affecting his locker room at the end of the day. They put the fuck to the Steelers this weekend. Like, it didn't affect them at all. None of this has affected them on the field. So if it's not affecting you on the field, who gives a fuck if the guy's out at 4 a.m? Fucking hookers, too. Nobody cares. You should care. That's just the truth. So I don't care. And by the way, I'm going to tell you, when you brought up Ben Johnson,
I thought it was an interesting.